announced that we're going to be making, well, not us.
We're making big news.
Oh man, if they came to us as a group and they pitched us like what, like let's say like, we'll do the Kevin Feige thing, and this, we'll start right now because this video is going to be titled, what Star Wars games do we want? I'm gonna play the bitch card and be like, I try to convince you guys like we got to get them to make Knights of the Republic 3. Like that's all obviously like that's my go-to. But let's leave that aside because we're probably gonna talk about that. Like, what is the game you would or we could pitch to Lucasfilm? Like, this is what you should do with Star Wars. Like, what is the dream game? Kirklin, go.
I was gonna lean into the Sith centric idea. I know we already got something similar with like the Force Unleashed, but I feel like you could do a really good like rich story driven. Again, it is pretty much like what we've already seen in Star Wars games. If you think Force Unleashed, what's the other one? Fallen Order that just came out. Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah, like I feel like that but like very Sith centric. Honestly, like barely even comment on like Jedi or stuff like this. I'm thinking like thousands of years before the events of the movies and stuff. Again, I'm super biased because that's just like my favorite era of Star Wars. Those are pretty much all the books I've read are kind of around that era. So that's definitely what I would be leaning into. Again, it might be hard to market because it's just kind of a niche category. They'd probably be really wanting to get the most money out of it. And in order to get that, you want to see the good guys, you want to see the Jedi and stuff like that. But that's what I would want.
I don't know if it's niche. I don't know if Sith is niche. It's just
I'm just thinking like thousands of years ago, like the old Sith, like Darth Bane era and stuff like that. Well, it's talked about.
But KOTOR was like those were successful games though, right?
Yeah, that's a good
I think
point.
as long as you make the game good, I think I tweeted about this months ago, and I just feel like it's the obvious play. I'm not even talking about Knights of the Republic 3 because I do want that. I want them so badly to come out, or just a remake of that game or something like that, because I just feel like that game is just ripe for potential. And then we'll talk about the game they are announced that they're making, and maybe this is what the Ubisoft game is going to be. I don't know how no one is making a Mandalorian game or a game where you are Boba Fett, Mando, or a Mandalorian just being an assassin, a bounty hunter, collecting missions. Because we've talked about so much how the show already feels like a video game come to life. And imagine now it's that in a game, but it's in your hands. Hopefully not first person. You're not in the helmet, but like it's in your hands now, and you're doing these missions. Yeah. Trying to start your jetpack. I can't reach. My arms are too small. But like, I feel like a Mandalorian game is just prime for the taking right now. That would be my pitch as far as like what would be the most successful. And honestly, I think that'd be fun to play. I'd like that. And
like a Western, like a Red Dead Redemption 2 feeling, but like space. So yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Man, they'll go to new places, old places, things like that. Your coven, everything like that. Taylor, what about you?
Again, that's what Star Wars 1313 was aspiring to be, right? You get your Mandalorian armor and that, and it was just going to be that kind of.
What is this? Sorry,
Star Wars 1313. That was that game that they canceled.
Oh right,
around
I
the
remember
buyout time period. Yeah. So for my perfect like game that I would want to see for Star Wars, like I have two. Like
you already got your squadrons.
I already got my squadron, so I'm set there. So for me, one that I definitely want is some form of Star Wars RTS game. I think like because again I have clocked days of my life at this point total into Star Wars Empire at War. It's just a game that it's an older one, but it's just a game again that I can't get enough of. I still play it to this day. I love having literally a map of all like 55 Star Wars planets, and you basically can do your ground battles, your space battles. You can build a fleet.
That's hype.
I've had fleets of like 100 Star Destroyers, and I've had battles last about like 3 hours. Like when I was younger, it's endless. Where you have like the consortium pirates dishing out capital ships, and you have the rebellion dishing out all these ships too, and you just have like blockades of Star Destroyers going to town. Like I've had so many scenarios that I've played out. And again, you're blowing up planets with the Death Star. Like you're running a campaign and you're trying to fight off corruption from the pirates, and then you're moving the Death Star, blowing up all the planets, and all of a sudden you look back and the rebellion just blew up your Death Star, which blew up the planet at the same time. Like it's just utter chaos, and like it's awesome. But
what is that on? We should play it for the stream next year.
It's on PC, unfortunately. I don't know.
I was just gonna say, Taylor, I'm gonna pull this up. Can you
Could
play
you find
like,
a way
together
I guess
online?
Yeah, you can play together.
Might have to pick this up. I love RTS games.
It's
but
so good.
as we've talked about this cast multiple times, and unfortunately, fucking Xbox doesn't support it, like Battlefield Middle Earth. I'm so down when they take IP and they make real-time strategies because I like those games enough, but I think when there's a IP like coding or skin on it, it just gets me so invested so much because it's like instead of like strong soldier number 1, it's like the Nazgul leader. It's like, yeah, I want to get the fucking Nazgul leader. I want a Witch King riding around the bat and like the stars. That'd be so sick, especially now with, like the Clone Wars, like the animated side, the new movies, the sequel trilogy, Mando. Like there's so many facets of characters you could pull from, and like
that's something like I've dabbled a little bit in because like Empire at War, like a lot of Star Wars fans, they've made mods, so I've downloaded like a Thrawn mod for it, and it had like all the people, like they go in depth with what they've done with the game. So they give like graphical reworks. They had new ships, new units, and Thrawn
nudie mods for the Twi'leks.
Thrawn is in the base game of Forces of Corruption, so that again was another reason why I fell in love with that game. But it's so good. They need more RTS games for Star Wars. My second pick would
be... hang on, Taylor won't let us play on the stream. You know why, Kirklin? Because he won't move his fucking PC out of the living room into the living room.
No, I can still set it up fine. Like I just ran HDMI cord from my PC to the TV, so it'd be all good.
But wouldn't you be sitting in the other room playing?
No. No, just pop the keyboard and mouse into the living room, and then you're good to go.
All right. We'll figure it out. We should figure that out in those wee hours. You know, I'd be down to. So your second game.
Second game is Republic Commandos 2. Republic Commando was fucking amazing.
So because I was gonna wait for that about Force Unleashed. Have you seen some of these like Star Wars C-tier scoopers talk about the other games that have been talked about?
I have, but I don't know how. It's just rumors in the air, and people are all getting their giddy pants on. So,
but one of these C-tier scoopers months ago, because he tweeted out, he said that he did hear conversations about them talking with Ubisoft, and he was right. Like obviously, literally, me and Taylor can make up a scoop and put it out there, and if it's right, we could say, see, look, I just told you. That's pretty much what I do with Travis was right. I make a fucking prediction, and that's right. See, I told you, but I have no fucking idea. I'm just like guessing. I'm making an educated guess, but he did get that right, so we'll give him that credit. People were talking. There's 3 rumors going around. There's one that the Battlefront cast, the current one, are all talking about a project they're working on together. I don't think that's the Ubisoft game. Then there was talking about Republic Commando, some sort of continuation remake or something like that, and then something also tied to Force Unleashed as well. Same thing, not an idea if it was a remake, stuff like that. I love that the games you guys shout out get talked about, but no one's fucking talking about Knights of the Republic. You know, the game that so many people say is one of the biggest RPGs of all time, like place in the chat. Even just give me a 1 and 2 remastered or a remake. That's fine. Like, why have we not even got that? I don't fucking get it. This game. Like,
didn't they remaster them for mobile? You can get remastered KOTOR.
Fuck mobile. I'm gonna play it on my. I'm gonna play KOTOR on my fucking phone here. Are you kidding me? God damn! I want that in my Xbox Series X. I don't even care if it's exclusive. Like, I just want that plugging away. But anyway, so Republic Commando was some of those rumors. So you might get your wish if these kind of C tiers are like onto something.
I hope so, because like that game had so many elements of horror like involved with it. I don't know if you guys have actually like played it all the way through. No. It's like as a shooter game, like it's great how it starts off like just war torn and all that stuff, and then like commanding your squad and then facing off against the super battle droids for the first time is terrifying, and then when you go up against like Trandosians, it's even better. Like it's horror, and again, like the game ends like on Kashyyyk, I believe, on a huge cliffhanger, and it's just it's awesome. Like, and they never followed up with that. It's just like, no, one and done, and that was it. And this is a game that came on the original Xbox, so the whole time period through 360, and then I guess they went through changes obviously after they had the one come out, but it's just baffles me. And it's funny because all these Star Wars games were exclusive back then on Xbox. And I guess PC too. Republic Commando was on PC as well. I don't think it was on PlayStation, but again, it's interesting to see what Xbox is going to try and do, because I feel like Xbox has always been a big advocate for these Star Wars titles, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're like trying to like seep their way in. They got laughed at by Nintendo when they tried to buy them, but they might try to buy some stuff from Disney for Star Wars. So
it's tough with that. Like, that's tough. Like, will Disney make an exclusivity deal? Because they haven't. Spider-Man does, but that's different because that's Sony Spider-Man, right? So they haven't done anything like that. I just don't. I don't see it unless they do throw a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, to make it worth their while. So they don't like, because that means that, especially right now, if you look at what the stats for like PS5 outsold Xbox Series X like 1/4 or something. So like for every 4 PlayStation, the Xbox sells not the greatest. I think it's even maybe less than that, but. So that's them cutting off a huge market. If they were to say no PlayStation 5, just Xbox and PC, tons of people not being able to play it or buy it. So that's where Xbox would have to give them just a lot of money, and maybe, but I think it'd have to be the right title or like some partnership. But I don't foresee that yet. I could foresee maybe one. It's hard for me foreseeing one game, but that's the most I could see. Never like we've made a deal with them, and I don't think we will. I think it will. I think they will keep all the games everywhere. But you never know. Like look at Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I know it's smaller, but that was just a Switch exclusive, and I thought by now we would have heard like it's coming to Xbox and PS5 eventually, but it still hasn't. There's still been no word on Marvel Alliance, so it can happen. It's just. I don't know. What do you think about that, Kirkland? Exclusivity deal with even Sony. Even maybe let's say they try to make a play. Say, hey, we just want a Star Wars game just for us. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's tough because like what was the EA contract with Disney? It's not still on, right? Because they had like the rights to Star Wars.
I think, like Taylor said, they have a contract with them that goes to 2023, but that's to make games. I think they had an exclusivity contract that like came up, or it's about. It must have came up because that's why you're hearing these announcements. So I think maybe after 2020, the exclusivity ran out, and that's why you see Bethesda's making a game, Ubisoft's making a game, stuff like that. But they still are making games with them. Like Jedi Fallen Order 2 is definitely happening, I would assume.
Yeah.
And like we'll talk about that after, Taylor. But like. I know you always say no to me, but it's just like, what else is that Battlefront cast working on then? You know, like
well,
there's
no,
always still a
I
chance
was
to get
saying
one
no
more game.
to the Battlefront 3 being like the next, like right next year. But I do think Battlefront 3 is coming.
I feel like, I'm going to have to get some receipts on you. I feel like you've always told me it's not coming now. Now I feel like you're retroactively doing some history changing. No, Taylor would never. But Kirk, what do you think about that? Some exclusive deal with one of the companies.
I feel like they'd want to stay neutral, honestly. Yeah, like I feel like that's where I lean, like the most. I almost said the strongly on. It's definitely not a word. Definitely get into the wee hours here, but I feel like that's definitely where I'm feeling the most confident.
He was gonna
at
do
least.
it again.
There you go. I had the word pop in my head. I think that would be my most confident pick. I don't know, just something about Disney. I feel like they want to stay neutral. They want to be able to push all this product out. But again, you know, money talks. If someone's throwing down big wad of dough, Disney might maybe they'll want that. Who knows?
Yeah. So what do we think is? What do you guys? I'll throw it to Taylor first because you know he's Mr. Ubisoft. You must have been so excited when they made this announcement because this is just right up your alley. And if you're talking about people that are making RPGs constantly, this is the way. So not much. I didn't even mean to say this is the way, but like they they have not announced any specifics, not time, anything like that. Just hey, we're making an open RPG game with Ubisoft, which has not happened. Am I right in saying it hasn't happened since KOTOR, like an RPG open world game? Because like Jedi Fallen Order has like open world elements, but it's still like pretty linear as far as how you tell a story. You can travel, but it's not. Like I said, I think it's more elements like the skill tree. You can travel around everywhere in the world, but it's not like you could just like KOTOR. You could literally, you're on Tatooine. You go everywhere now. There's a bunch of side missions. Like, go ahead. Fuck, I just want to play KOTOR so bad. But do I know?
On your phone.
Does it work? Well, no. Do you know if even does it work on Xbox Series X? Do you know, like the disc?
I believe it does. I believe it's one of the backwards compatible titles, so it should. Because that's what they said. The discs all work, right? For those backwards
as my Resident
titles.
Evil remake games cry at me for not playing them anymore. Or Watch Dogs 2, which I bought. You know, like all these games. Like, you're gonna play KOTOR again? Well, yeah. You know.
Yeah, I have KOTOR on my computer right now. Actually, it's already installed and everything.
But so Taylor, what do you envision for this game? What do you think is gonna go down?
Yeah, first of all, I think that Ubisoft dealing with this is fantastic. A lot of people are naysayers and all that shit, but you know, get off your fucking high horse. Like the bugs that people, I'm serious, the bugs that people complain about, just tone it down. It's not a fucking Project Red like cyberpunk bullshit. Like this is something like they release consistent patches and they put out polished, for the most part, polished games at the start. Now, you can make an argument for sure where there's been like maybe one
What
or
about Unity?
two.
Unity,
Unity is
I
the
got-
one. That's the argument that I'm willing to allow. But that being said, we got 2 Assassin's Creed games that came out at that same time, Unity and Rogue. And Rogue was polished. It didn't have bugs or crashes or anything like that. Unity definitely had problems. But again, I didn't have any problems with Unity. And there's several other titles that are really good that they've done. No crashes on launch and all that stuff. And again, consistent tech support. They release updates, all that jazz. When you look at the company doing this that did The Division, oh yeah, I know, the no face glitch. Oh boy. So you have the.
You tell me Luke Skywalker's gonna look like that?
Oh,
that
yeah.
that almost looks just as bad as the way he looked in Mandalorian finale.
Almost. So
Almost.
you have you have where was I going with that? You have the company that's done The Division, and
Right.
they've also done Assassin's Creed Revelations. And Revelations was a fantastic game. I guess for me, it was on the lower end of the Ezio trilogy, but it was a fantastic game, really well executed.
It's pretty good.
Now you have The Division, which is interesting because The Division 1 I thought was fantastic. I've got a lot of good memories with that game, and it was really, really, really just awesome for what they did. It was fantastic. Division 2, I don't know what went wrong. Like they literally put it out for like sale for $1 on the Xbox Marketplace like last year,
Oh.
and I bought it for $1, and it was crazy. It was like a 24-hour sale, and so I picked it up for $1, and I have it installed, but I haven't dived into it yet. Again, I don't know what went wrong with that. I think more people play
Well, then
the
you
first
can't
one than
personally talk. I'm sure you would like it because you seem to give a lot more benefit of the doubt for people.
that. Well, yeah, like I haven't gone into the Division 2 yet, so I don't have much to speak on that. Again, I haven't had a pull to really get into it. I haven't seen anything to really pull me in. Like when I think of Division, I end up thinking of Division 1 just for everything that they've done with that game and the expansions and everything. It's awesome. So when people say like, oh, they did the Division, yada yada yada, like, and it makes them antsy, like, just like get off your fucking high horse. The Division 1 was a really, really good game for what they accomplished. So when you take that team and you have them helm an open world game, open world RPG, 110%. You have a team that's worked on an Assassin's Creed title. You have a team that's worked on a new IP like The Division. So I have 100% confidence in them that they're going to dish out something that's going to be awesome. And I don't think it's going to be Jedi related. I think it's going to be something that's like Pirates or Marauders or something like that. And again, I am excited to see the time period they go with. I just remember when they were doing interviews and discussions with Fallen Order, and the team went in. I don't think I'm trying to remember which side was which, because I think the EA team wanted to do lightsabers and stuff, but I think the Disney game story people wanted to do like smugglers or something, didn't they? I think that's how it went. And I think the EA team had to maybe I'm getting it reversed. One side was like heavy lightsaber, and the other side was like, oh, we wanted to do it like this, and they had to push for them to do a Jedi lightsaber story for the game. So I'm hoping that.
Well, you might be referring to Amy Hennig's game, the girl, or sorry, not the girl, the woman that made Uncharted. She was making like a smuggler type game. And I think the story was kind of, they wanted it to be a bit more Jedi focused. I don't know if that's EA or Disney or kind of a combo, but that was something where they're like, no, we kind of need more Jedi. And I don't disagree with that as far as when they were starting to make the games. I still think they should have still done that and just made another game on top of that. But I could see them wanting a Jedi game as one of their first games, and one of their first, but it's took a few years to do.
Mm-hmm.
So with you and the pushback and everything like that, it's tough because I like Ubisoft, but I think you're right that people do shit on them too much, but I think then you're also a little hyperbolic. But I don't know, and this is what I'll throw to Kirklin. I don't know if Ubisoft, they get me way more excited than EA, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're the name. Like when I see Bethesda, even though they have their problems, I go, well, they've made some of the best games of all time. Now, Ubisoft has arguably, you could say that with some of the Assassin's Creed games, but I still think when you look at the top 50 games of all time, I don't know if any of these Assassin's Creed games are in there, where I know Bethesda has a couple of games in there, a couple at least. So that's where it's just I see the argument. That's where I'm excited, because I'm just excited it's just not EA, and it's someone that I do think that is, if you're looking for RPG, if you're looking for an open world RPG and you don't want to get one of the big boys like a Rockstar, like a Naughty Dog, someone like that, or like not even, they wouldn't make an open world RPG, but I mean, like, if you don't want to go to Insomniac, someone like that, if you don't want to go to one of these people, who the fuck made God of War, but those group of people, they are the best next one. But I think that's where people maybe worry as far as they're not going for the best. They're going because other than that Assassin's Creed game a few years ago, it was what, Origins, and what was the other one too?
Odyssey.
They got lots of praise for. They haven't had that like really big breakout game. So I feel like that where some people are worried that they feel like they're maybe settling. They're going for like the second best option in RPG because it might be cheaper or easier, and that might not be the case. But maybe it's like they're not doing like what Sony did with Spider-Man and going for Insomniac, which is, big company, not a big company, but like they. It sucks because Infamous wasn't even the biggest game, but I just feel like Insomniac got. I think people, when Spider-Man was paired with Insomniac, even though they had just made the not infamous, what other game? Why am I fucking up now? Ratchet and Clank. Who is the other developer? I'm messing up because
Santa Monica is God of War.
Who can you look up who did Infamous for me, because that's who everyone thought was doing Spider-Man for a while, and then ended up being Insomniac, but I can't remember who did.
It's just a Sony Computer Entertainment.
Does it say on there?
Well, thanks. Tell me no. Well,
Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch.
It is Sucker Punch. Okay, yeah, Naughty Dog. So everyone thought it was doing that. Where Insomniac, they did Ratchet Clank, a few things, but I feel like there's a bit more excitement there. But I don't know, Kurt, what do you feel about like Ubisoft and like obviously your personal opinions, but like because I've seen that before of like, oh, it's just Ubisoft. But I think that for me, it's that where it's like they're not the A tier. We always talk about the A tiers, the Rockstars, the Naughty Dogs, stuff like that. They're not that, and I think that's what people in Star Wars were hoping. But I think Ubisoft is still a really good choice.
I think the thing with Ubisoft is they definitely get like more flack than they probably deserve. They definitely make a lot of top quality games. I've played tons of their games. I've played tons of Far Cry. I've played so much Assassin's Creed games. What's that other one? Ghost Recon. Like those games. Like I really like their products. I feel like the thing with Ubisoft is, again, a lot of their games are different. I mean, most of their games are like those open world RPGs and stuff like that. So it definitely is a good fit there. I feel like there's just like a certain standard that Ubisoft has that I've just come to expect. I'm not expecting them to have something like God of War, where I'm like, wow, like this is literally game of the year. Like this is a game-changing game.
Yeah.
But that's also not to say that it's like you said, Travis, like it's not EA where I'm like, okay, like where's this hidden microtransactions going to be in here? They're buggy ass games that they just keep re-releasing rosters and stuff like that. Again, that's kind of niche to sports games. I have some beef of my own with them and their sports games, but I want to say I'm positive though, like with the pairing. I think it does make sense. I think it is good. I don't think this will be a game of the year contender, but I also think it will be a really rock solid game because that's just what I've come to expect with Ubisoft.
See, I hope they are like, and I know everybody hopes this, right? Like every filmmaker that makes a film like wants to be a box office hit or an Oscar film or whatnot. But like, I do hope they're striving for like a game of the year type of game. They did that with, obviously it's a different studio, but they did that with Odyssey a few years ago. Of like that got people talking and people were really excited. So I do want that to be. I want this to be their Spider-Man like 2018 game. When that did.
Do you think they have that though? Do you think they have that?
And I think that's where it comes up, the worry, where people worry that there is a bar over there, and because they, I think it's because it's like they produce so much content over there. I think that's the other thing too that people worry is like, is this going to be, hey, all eyes are on Star Wars, let's make this great, or is we got the Star Wars IP and we can just pump more out? I don't think they're as bad as EA. I think EA was the definition of, we have the Star Wars IP, just pump out a bunch of stuff for it. They started to slow down. I haven't played Squadrons that much. I don't play on the stream, but I think the people that wanted that type of game seem to be enjoying it. Me and Tit, like, I still liked Jedi Fallen Order. I feel like we're in the minority of people just absolutely loved it. I think it was a good game, but I don't think the story was great, and I think that it was a buggy ass game, especially near the end. So like that's the problem. So I don't know if they have it in them, but I want them to have it in them. I want them to play it and be blown away. I want them to be, because like I said, I don't know, like, do you think Ubisoft has any games, if you were to make a list, or if you were to see multiple people make a list of the 50 greatest games of all time, do you think you'd see a Ubisoft game in it? Because I don't.
I don't know.
It's tough. I just
feel like it might be tough. Yeah, it might be close.
I think there would be. I think like original Prince of Persia.
Whoa. You're gonna say the original Assassin's Creed?
Original Prince of Persia. I think that was a hit. Sands of Time.
Oh, yeah, dude, Sands of Time.
I could fuck with you on that one. I'll Mac on you with that. Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right there. That's potential, but I still think it's like in the lower of the list. But yeah, I hope they pull it off, and I don't know, like, because Taylor said that he doesn't think it's Jedi related. I would tend to agree, but also like they have a lot of, I guess it's the Division people. I was gonna say, like, Assassin's Creed got some swords going on and whatnot, but yeah, I could see. I'm not sure if it's a smuggler or a bounty hunter or what the deal is, but I'm excited. Clay said, when do we think we'll see the first game on our Lucasfilm banner? That's tough because the Star Wars game announcement was just a bunch of logos of who's making it. Indiana Jones was just a cinematic cutscene that they could easily splice together. So when? I hate to be pessimistic, but I feel like 2020 to fall the earliest, but that's like, to me, the earliest, because that means games have to be done. Like, for me, I'm thinking almost more like 2023. Maybe the Indiana Jones game sooner, but Star Wars games, unless they've made some like smaller indie ones, like this one that's the Ubisoft RPG one, I feel like you gotta, because I feel like games usually get like a whole year of cycle of promotion before they even come out nowadays. So it's like, if this is like the start of the promotion, so maybe this is it. Maybe this is the whole thing. But like, look at DC fandom. They announced Suicide Squad, and then when they show the date, it was 2 years later from the thing. It was like, wow, okay, this game still has a long ways to go. So I'm thinking like 2023 for the Star Wars games at least.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good amount of time, especially like considering what they possibly want to do with these games. Like, they probably have to make a whole new engine, and like, and then it gets into like all of the artwork that they have to do for it, and like, I feel like it's very much at the early stages. But again, I could be completely wrong. I think your time frame though, Travis, is probably not too optimistic. What's the other word? Pessimistic, I guess. Like, I feel like it's a realistic projection.
What about you, Taylor?
I think you're right. I think unless they were working in secret this whole time in 2021,
illegally.
Yeah, I don't think that it's gonna be 2021 that we get a game. I think that they're just gonna keep working on what they have right now. Again, they just upgraded Fallen Order for Xbox Series X. I think next gen, like overall next gen compatibility. So it's they'll work on what they have right now, and we'll see something probably maybe at the Video Game Awards for 2021. We'll get like a trailer or something for the Ubisoft title or something like that.
Because E3 sure as fuck ain't happening again this year. Like that's unfortunate, but yeah. Anything else on these Star Wars Lucasfilm games coming back? I think it's exciting to see that happening again. I hope we get that logo where it's the guy and the lightsaber get thrown through and it would come through.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love that, like all HD and everything now.
I got chills. I got chills due to that.
Yeah. The only thing I was going to ask, because this isn't even on the rundown today, I just want to ask you two things. One, how much more have you played Cyberpunk? And two, have you guys seen like the whole like apology video they put out yesterday?
I didn't watch the video, but I saw it.
I haven't seen anything about that.
And two, I have not gone back and played it, but it's not because I don't like it or don't want to. Like I do plan to go to. I just end up getting wrapped up with COD. Again, with my time and everything that I have now, like it's hard to sit down and commit to a long story-driven video game. When I sit down and I game, it's fun to just grind out a few missions or just do like team deathmatch like crazy.
Chasing Bigfoot,
yeah.
I was gonna say, I have to look back at our conversation today, but I think we did have a bet that, because I said before, when
6 months from when I purchased the game,
6 months
that I would beat the main story, but you canceled the bet because you said it's bullshit.
I did. I should have kept it though, because I thought it was longer than the game, but it was only like 40 hours. But still, it doesn't sound like you're playing it. But yeah, no, I just wanted to mention because yeah, they put out this video saying that they're whatever, sorry, blah blah, and then they said that they have a bunch of patches still coming in January and then February, and then they have free DLC coming near the end or like in the middle of 2021, and then it pretty much looks like almost like right when 2022 is going to start, or at least December fall. That's when they're finally going to do the next gen version. So this is such a fucking mess. Like the fact that they said like we were going to have these next gen versions, not at launch, but just with these games, the fact it's going to come out maybe almost 2 years later than like maybe not the full 2 years calendar year, but still like it's just crazy that all this fucking stuff went down, and like the fact that like anytime you got to put out an apology video for anything is not good, and the fact that they did this whole roadmap, I'm very curious to see. And it's still crazy that PlayStation is still not selling on their store. They're still not selling, and they're just like, well, we hope to get an update on that soon. And it's just like, oh man, I'd love to see what the player base is like now, and I'd love to see just what happens, because like so we've seen some games make it back, but just funny to lay out this road and to be like, oh, we're working on DLC. It's like, man, I don't know if working on DLC is the right way to go right now. But hey, you do whatever works for you guys, I guess. So it's crazy.
I mean, I haven't really been following it too much. I obviously haven't played it or anything, but like from what I was hearing, like from some other people at work that have played it, like it didn't seem this bad, at least from what they're laying out. So like the fact that they're going out of their way to do these apology videos, like to me, it's just pretty cringe. And like, honestly, like it just sucks because I was a big fan. Maybe I shouldn't say was. I am a big fan of CD Projekt Red. I love The Witcher, stuff like that. And I do want to play this game eventually. But it's weird when this happens, right? Especially with how much hype was behind this game. And
oh yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Witcher 4 when that ever comes?
Is that even like, are you sure that's coming? I thought they were having like a falling out.
No, I think they've always had a falling out, but I think they can still make the games. I just being like, would you be as excited? Because they've not announced it or anything like that. I just think it's a foregone conclusion it'll happen at some point. Yeah. Like, what is your hype level now for Witcher 4 after all this? Because I feel like before this game launches, like Witcher 4, like I'm there day one, and I still might be, but it's like now it's just like, I don't know. It's very. I don't know,
but I think that's kind of different though, because you have something to compare it to. Like you have Witcher 3, and you're like, well, I know it can't be worse than that, right?
Yeah.
Nervous chuckle. But yeah, I would probably be a day oneer if and when that happens. I don't know. I kind of feel confident that it's an if though. Like I don't think that it's for sure thing. I don't know.
Oh, that show's blowing up. I think they'll take advantage of it.
But like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a topic for another day.
Yeah, well, we still got half an hour to WandaVision.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. Any other tidbits?
Anything else to shout out before we bring this episode to a close?
No, it's good. Almost 3-hour podcast. It's been a while since we've had news, at least since I was on.
Oh, yeah. Lots of news. We talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about Chris Evans, talk about Deadpool, Ray Fisher.
Controversies, yeah.
Yeah, fun times. Taylor learned what cushion for the pushing meant finally.
I swear I thought, like, it just makes sense. So like, funny. You have a cushion, which is like hair in a bush, and you just bounce off it.
Ew. What pillows are you have at your house that feel like
all
inside?
Pillows are made of fabric.
Okay. Oh, fuck. All pillows feel like pubic.
Those pillows are so itchy.
Yeah, they just get everywhere. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh man. Well, at least this episode already provides some good bloopers for the 2021 episode. I forgot to shout that out. If you're near the end here, this almost 3-hour cast, the bloopers one is up. I will shout that again during WandaVision and whatnot. But yeah, watch the video versions of those ones. I think those are always the superior ones, and some good times there. And Taylor, you think Kirklin's going to make it to WandaVision? He's looking pretty tired.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I'm feeling great.
I don't know if he's going to make it. That's.
Oh, I'm so make it. Let's go. I'm
you
so
are
hyped.
Going to make it?
Oh, I'm so hyped. I feel different.
Taylor was like, let me pull, before we go, and this is fun for the listeners, I'll pull the exact conversation Taylor said, because I'm like, hey, because Taylor, I was surprised, how come you weren't even going to stay up to midnight for the first episode of WandaVision? I could understand the rest of the series, but...
Because it was 2 episodes, so I wasn't feeling like that apt to it.
Kirklin's like, what? No.
2 episodes? What?
Because let me find it here. Because I was like, oh, if Kirkland stays up, will you stay up? And this is us arguing about what gifts you're going to use. Because Taylor was, were you watching the stream one time, Kirkland, when Taylor was using the BB-8 GIF on our stream?
That was just you and me. I don't think Kirkland would watch that.
I don't think so.
Okay, it was really big, and I told him just to make them a little, smaller, whatnot. So, let's see. Where was the? Okay, so I'm like, if Kirkland stays up, will you? And he says, that motherfucker. No, I'm joking. He says, if Kirk does, I will, but he has to stay up. He has to commit. But then he put haha, but haha was a separate bubble. Like he felt like he was maybe being too serious.
Was it like an hour and a half later? Like he thought about the message and then he's like, haha.
Yeah. It's like when you're just starting to see someone and you're maybe having someone an argument and you say something like, oh, that's too serious. I'll add a haha or LO, but it's like you're still kind of serious about. But yeah, we'll see if he makes it. But yeah, I'm so excited. We're less than half an hour away when people are listening to this. So we will end this episode. We thank you as always for everyone that tuned in. Like we said, the description is down below. That has everything for you. This was tons of fun, and we promise when you hear from us next, it'll not be boring.
Bye-bye.
Ciao for now.